Good morning to our listeners and viewers of the Real Stuff podcast. Today is Friday and it's normally our Poetry Corner. And we have with us some great poets in Stacie Ann Taylor, her friend Maggie, and we have a storyteller, Christine Neil Wright. And today, just a little celebration, a pre-independence celebration. We'll just have a wonderful time with poetry and storytelling. And we'll start with Stacie Ann. So Stacie Ann, remind our listeners and viewers who you are.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Stacie Ann Green Taylor, an author, poet, and educator, a Jamaican, someone who loves writing, reading. I'm a songwriter of late, and I write both standard English poetry as well as Jamaican dialect. And in honor of the Independence Weekend, I will be focusing today really on Jamaican dialect. Even though I would love the opportunity to speak about my book, I Found My Heart, I'll put that aside for today and focus on my dialect side. All right?
Okay, so introduce your friend Margaret to us because you're the one who
All
really knows.
right. All right. I've been wanting to have a conversation with her on this platform. When it's done, you will see why. And I'm sure before the month is out, she will have a day or two because she is somebody who is full of life. She is full of the arts. She's full of poetry. This is a woman who is very dynamic, extremely talented. She's an educator, a mother, an author, a poet. She's a teacher of English literature. I've seen this woman in so many capacities in the arts. She sings, she dances. I don't think there's anything within the arts that she does not do. And she is crazy. She is passionate about the arts. So I really love having poetic conversations with her. She is the type of poet who gets to the real stuff. She talks about those things that really steer her soul. She really speaks about the things that affect us collectively. And she's not afraid to share her personal experiences too. And this is one of the things I like about her. She chooses to be vulnerable in such a strong way. At the same time, and in such a creative way. This woman has a way with words. And I was lucky enough, let me not use the word lucky, I was blessed enough to meet her in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and she was an exceptional teacher. She just impacted me in such a way. And even after we were not in the same workspace, we were constantly connected because of the arts and the fire she has inside of her. So Marguerite, for me, is one of those once in a lifetime creative people who just loves to give her all to the creative arts. She has a book. She has a poetry book. She has other books, but I believe today she's going to focus on her poetry book. And she is going to take a moment also to share some of her pieces that I want to describe, some of them as riveting, soul stirring. And this is as much I can say for now about Marguerite.
Okay.
Marguerite, since you're a new person, can you start us off with one of your pieces, please? Introduce yourself first.
All right. Understanding the theme on which we are having this discussion, I just want to connect my poems to the theme, the whole independent theme.
Yes.
You see, the idea of being independent, many persons do not consider how wide it is. That meaning involves anyone who is resourceful with the very little that he or she has. It involves being able to adapt to situations, you know. I remember when I was growing up, I wanted so much to just grow up and move out. And I've still maintained that even though as an adult it brings a whole set of realities that would make one want to wish to go back to being kids, I still maintain that amidst the joy, amidst the disappointment rather, I am happy that I grew up, I was able to move out because integral to moving out and being in that adult space is being able to make one's own decision and giving yourself a voice. Now, giving yourself a voice is something that I advocate for because I grew up in the 70s into the 80s. And
Where did you grow up? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the community of Waterhouse.
Okay.
And we grew up on the principle that children must be seen and not heard. And so our voices were muffled. There were many things that nobody cared to hear how we felt. And so I came out of a climate where a lot was unspoken. And I took that kind of burden and socializing into my adulthood. And it took a whole lot of courage and anger for me to get to the stage where I just said, to hell with you, this is my time to speak, you know? Yes. And so ingrained in that independence theme is let your voice be heard. That is okay. Like that, I am just going to delve into the reading of my first piece. Now, echo.
We having some internet problems, Courtney?
No, I'm not hearing her.
No, me neither. She's gone. Okay, let's start log. Go ahead, Stacie Ann, until she comes back.
All right. All right. Yes, we lost. All right. All right. In keeping with the independence theme, today I'm going to be focusing on my dialect, my Jamaican dialect collection, which is titled Dead Left Land. And it's a book in the making. It has been in the making for a while. And I don't think before I decided to publish, I realized all the ins and outs that it would take to really do a book of this kind. And the process has been really, informative. It has been an extremely revealing process. I am working on publishing this as a book in both print and audio, as well as Kindle. I think Marguerite is back. I'm not sure if we're gonna hear her. If we can hear her, then she could go ahead.
You hearing?
Yes, yeah, we are now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't even know at what point I was missing in action.
No, ma, you had said that you are ready to read your first piece.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So this first piece, it's titled Rebirth. Scorned and ridiculed, she carried her affliction for years. There came a time when she bled, until one day her body buckled. And there laid she in her scarlet pool, that filthy maiden as good as dead. But Jesus reshaped her from earth's dust and delivered her from the hand of the cruel. There came a time when the unborn in her womb laid still, showed no sign of life, curled in its fetal tomb. And the concerned expression on the faces of doctors, alas, were ready when they considered the deciding factors. But she, in all the noise, lie unperturbed, no doubt. It was God who administered that herb. And in an instant rebirth, the babe leapt, bounded and gallivanted. There came a time when all around her beloved child, a fiery furnace closed in. But the loving arms of Jesus enfolded the child with oxygen. Methinks that maiden would not have made it to the other side. After the many years of stained tears, she cried. But she is Mother Earth, and God has granted her rebirth. Now, if you would permit me to give you a little back story of this piece. Rebirth is symbolic of God's resurrecting of the poet. This poem is one of the musical pieces. So it's God's resurrecting of the poet at a time when she should have died, whether by her circumstances, a metaphoric death. She should have died. And through it all, the predominant message is one of God's grace and the miracles that He performed, and specific, very traumatic experiences in my life were highlighted in this piece. And it also speaks to the fact that when it comes to a mother, there is no love outside of the love of God. There's no love greater than that of a mother. So it also focuses on just the theme of motherhood and the sacrifice that a mother makes for her children, you know? Yeah.
So, okay, thank you very much. So, Stacie Ann, let us hear some of those patois pieces.
All right. When Marguerite was off for a while, when I was speaking earlier, and I'm saying today I'm going to be sharing from my dialect collection as we focus on independence. And at this time, most of us become, I believe, nostalgic. I think Marguerite is one of those persons too, so she understands. She really loves to reminisce. She's a reflective person. So this independence, I think collectively, as Jamaicans, we're all using this time to look back. We keep looking back at when I was growing up, when I was going to school, when I had my children. We keep reflecting. And the independence season should put us in that mood. And I think what it should do to us, it should really show us that we have come a far way. No matter how old we are, we have come a very far way if we look back at the years and the changes. So this collection, Dead Left Land, this is the first poetry collection I actually wrote for publishing. And this was the first book that was supposed to be published. I think this is my favorite type of writing. And the concept of Dead Left Land, it came for me out of this concern about legacy. At the time, I was really focused on legacy and inheritance. And I looked at how culturally we are taught to value legacy and inheritance, what is ours. In the material sense and in every other sense of the word, we are taught to value those things that are ours. So as Jamaicans, we are proud of our culture, our nation, our history. We value those things, but there are a number of things I choose to talk about in the book And one of them, it's about the concept of land inheritance within the family. And I compare it to what our ancestors did, what they did not do, what the colonial masters did, and what they did not do. And it was, this piece of poem was written based on several experiences I had growing up as a child within my own family and within other families. And many of these experiences, it had to do with conflict over land ownership. And a lot of these conflicts were born out of the fact that our ancestors did not do the right thing. And because of that, many children and grandchildren were unable to have that independence within their families regarding their inheritance. So there's always this chaos about this land that we own. And many times, nobody within a family is able to establish legal ownership. And I think that's something within our culture. There are so many things we say are ours, we claim as ours, but we have nothing to show to claim for it. And I used the metaphor of the land to speak about all of these things. And another day we could talk about all those other things. And sometimes now the land ownership, it's an inability for family members to establish proper ownership, because sometimes they don't have the money, they don't have the knowledge to say, go and sign the documents and get them stamped and get the legal framework going. They don't understand tax payment and who pays it when. They don't understand that when somebody dies, this is what you do to prepare the will to ensure that the legacy continues within the family. It's not done well. Sometimes it's ignorance. Sometimes there are elements of deception. And many times, sad to say, even to this day, many Jamaicans still don't understand what it means to keep what is ours. We really don't know. We really don't know. So when somebody dies, everybody now starts running around and there's this chaos about the inheritance because we don't understand how to treat what is ours. So I'm gonna take a look at Dead Left Land, which is one of my favorite pieces. I want to cause so much trouble in the family, make so much people vex. It look like a piece of land where Papa dead left. Jamaica people have a thing for land though, them never cease to amaze me. Them no buy land, them no pay tax, but as soon as somebody dead, everybody want to run in. I know say family inheritance important, but I wonder if it's fair for all that we have cuss and fight over what work and slave. Then what do we? Make we can't work out a plan and start this already over Papa piece of land. But come to think of it, how much land him left? A quarter acre land makes so much people vex. Then we really should have shame. Shut we mouth and tackle a claim. Call all the nice we are make, just to give we family bad name. Then if me have pride, and you have pride, and we grow a picnic good, me would have look for me land, and you look for your land, and we just go and live good. The whole family well divided over the little piece of land. But I just wish Papa was alive to tell them where fi go yam. Them say cool it up bad, but they must tie this one for true. Cause all if Duppy could have walk and talk, this vexation wouldn't get time to brew. Make we work and save we money, and each buy a piece of land. Cause it would have been a bigger disgrace for the whole of we join the couscous over quarter acre land. And that's it for Dead Left Land. Are there any comments on the piece? Any comments?
Now, we'll just try to move it on a little bit because we haven't introduced Christine Wright, our storyteller. So, Christine, are you there?
Yes. Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so
You're not
just
seeing
tell
it.
our listeners and viewers and remind them who Christine Wright is, and let's give us a
I-
story right afterwards.
Okay, so I am an animated storyteller. I'm a poet. I have a program on radio and all of them nice things there. I'm also a tour guide. Today, my duty is to share some pieces from some other artists because I didn't even realize that I left my pieces. We're at Castleton Gardens right now, so you're going to hear a lot of background music and noises from the traffic and stuff like that. So, you ready?
Yeah, ready?
All right. So the first piece that I will be reading is called I Think. And this is from one of your guests that you had recently, and I'll tell you who is after. I think that when I think that you should think that the universe is you, me, babe, fetus, sperm, sun, moon, star, solar system, galaxies, plants, all in one, the entire creation. And I think and think again that God is transcending all bounds, crossing all borderlines, eliminating all checkpoints, giving life to the living dead, rising above obstacles, showing the way to attain your daily bread. And I would think that I and you in spiritual conversation, hugging the love vibration, manifesting true devotion, getting hooked to the right connection, knowing it is the only direction. And I think and see life manifest all that is good, the source and energy of an infinite supply, thinking that whatever the mind can conceive, it also can achieve, being firm in finding the solution, never affirming self-destruction, thinking that I should think that all is well, being one with the one, having the peace that lights all creation, laying the foundation that encompass love where there is no separation. Yes, I think, and guess what? I think God, nothing else. And that's the first piece from Christopher Crary, the gentleman the historian that you interviewed some time ago.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Thank
All
you.
right, you're welcome. The next one is Shackled. And this is by Anne Margaret Lim. She's a poet and an author. Was like flashback and perhaps memory just elapse to the first time them dash chain on your hand and you find yourself crammed with pieces and faces. You become your cousin on Black Friday and your heart get bombed to pieces when you see the tears drop from the liar them black face, but none from the chief man with him hammer hand, with the hammer hand. You shake with a picture of your wife and pick the ball and eat separation with your chin down to the bed. See, them do it again. It bubble in the blood. It burn in the head. That piece is from Anne Margaret Lim, and it has something to do with our legacy. Um, the other one that I'm going to be reading is Just Ice Cold Stairs, and this is from Emergency Landing from Osakwe Kinshasa. He's an author also. Just Ice Cold Stairs. The only justice I have known is poetic. My only defense against polyethylene smiles. Your honor, my honor, is in my words, my actions. My lord, let it be reflected on the record that I am licensed to kill, poetic license to kill, every wasp in my being that will never be a bee. Honey is not made by money. Pollen is not stolen from flowers. pollination is a nation's duty to preserve for garden's sake, for children's fruit plates, the power of words shall be felt by deaf, muted by none. If the detective is defective, effective only when guns cocked, let him be locked within conscience's walls. The same sentence for unjust judges. It is my fate to free psychological inmates, emancipate myself, brothers, sisters, in the poet's court. All rise, preside over your own fate. False pride, self-hate shall not abide. Ride the underground railroad of knowledge.
So, okay, thanks, Christine. We'll just switch over to Maggie, and you know, yeah, we just allow Christine because she's just like on a time thing. So go ahead, Maggie, please.
I am musing because of your skill with the pronunciation of the name. All right. A second piece I'd like to share. It's titled Rastakant, and this poem I take its issue very personally because I realize how quickly society is to jump in defense of females, but not in defense of males. In cases where there is abuse. You know, the courts will quickly put the hammer down on a man that is that's beating a woman. But we have so many women in homes that are abusing their men. And so this poem, Rastakant, speaks of a Rastafarian man that is beaten. And when I say beaten, it be a thump, a chuck, and that kind of public humiliation sometimes that takes place. And to discover that in a scenario like that, persons viewing laugh at the scenario. They wouldn't be laughing if it were a woman. And so I was very hurt, very angered by that. I wrote a poem expressing this discontentment. Rastakant, how dare you spit upon his garb? This peaceful brother who by nature only loves. When you should have been his Rasta queen, your ghastly behavior drew a scene. And I, woman just like you, hang my head in shame as you defile our name. Stacie, I know, said the Rastaman, took a deep breath to honor his philosophy. But like a lamb to the slaughter, he was reduced into the whole community. He sought calm in his Rasta chant, swallowed his pride, turned the next cheek, and with humility. Yet that pouncing Jezebel, Delilah, demon picnic, shameless femininity, minimized her king, cared nothing that he is masculine. She is no empress, and certainly not an idle daughter. She mocked and cursed him, bullied him, and sullied his character, vilified him as the onlookers magnified, scorned, mistreated, and humiliated. But when upon each other their backs were turned, the fury in the lion roared. And in that moment, he went against his Rasta chant and knocked her out flat on her face. I won't apologize for feeling appeased, for you are a disgrace to the female race.
Very nice, very
Step
nice.
right into another.
Beautiful piece.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Step right into another.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. The next piece is titled Wolmerian Girl. And this piece is based on a true story. It actually speaks to something that happened involving a dog that was injured. A car hit it right on Marasca Road. And as I was heading to my class on the other side of the street, those persons who know Woolmers would be able to visualize it, because the school is on the left and the right, lower school on one side and upper school on the other. And there are times I would have classes and need to walk on the overhead bridge to get to class. But as we were making this trek to class, there was a dog that was whimpering, crying because it got hit, but it's still alive. And the oncoming motorists, they have no mercy. They care nothing about this injured dog. And my friend is appealing to us, help her to go step out into the street to save this dog. And of course, our humanity, or I say, our lack of humanity showed itself even then as children, as teenagers. On the busy Marasca Road, where no one cared for an injured dog, where motorists do not come to a slow and honking horns hammer as impatient traffic competes toe-to-toe, there on the asphalted heat, the painful cry of a wounded creature pierced through the peak, our hub of the streets. Out into the throbbing traffic, the women girls stepped, caring none except for that injured dog, whimpering, pleading, fighting with its final breaths. And the honking swelled, and the motorists yelled. From their faces I could discern they were void of an iota of concern. But chaos, I heard her whisper, gentle reassurance to the timid creature. The woman, and so did her casualty and walked back to the sidewalk, ceremonious dignity. I have wished, and I have always wished, that I could be brave as she, who defied the odds to honor her humanity. Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. So I'll move into another. This piece is very short. It's titled This Philosophy. Children must learn to be seen and not heard. A philosophy that reigned in her house. The unhappy heart ached. The molested child was silenced. The muted anger became infested. The adult child became rebellious because of this philosophy. She recorded all her thoughts, pains, dreams in a little book because of this philosophy. She grew intimate with words because of this philosophy. She promised never to raise her children on this philosophy or to flog them into silence when they want to scream at the world. Okay?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you very much. Well done, yes. Back to
All
Stacie Ann
right.
now. Stacie Ann, we did not ignore your question because some questions myself.
Okay.
Uh, the poem that you read was it was reality, very reality. A real stuff happens every day, especially in Jamaica. Have
Yes.
you written others like that to explain some of these things that people are, grappling with every day?
Yes, as I said, the collection, the name of the collection is Dead Left Collection, and it
Okay,
speaks about all those legacies that we need to uncover. We need to speak about all those things we have inherited, all those that create problems, all those things that we need to place value on. Yes, the book really talks about a number of them. I could maybe give you some of the titles of the pieces in the collection so you'd understand some of the things it speaks about. Because dead
okay,
left land for me, as I said, the dead left land is a metaphor. The land itself speaks about all those aspects of our inheritance, all those
yeah,
things that have been passed down to us, and whether we handle them well or we mishandle them, the book speaks about it in that way. So
okay,
I have pieces, for example, entitled Ambition, and this talks about, for me, the Jamaican experience or the Caribbean person's concept of ambition as we see it. I spoke about one that, for example, the experience of the Jamaican who doesn't like going to the doctor, the senior citizen, the male, who doesn't like going to the doctor. So he creates help whenever his children decide that they're going to take him to the doctor, and he gives them a warm time. For me, these are parts of our legacy. I one is entitled, so that one is entitled Hypocrite, and it speaks about the things that we are very hypocritical about as a people, those things we refuse to talk about on a daily
so
basis.
can you give us a few more?
As in the poem itself.
Yes, yes.
All right. The one I want to share today, the final one I want to share, is entitled Lego the Girl, and this piece, it speaks about the other side of me that I wish that I was more of every day. It talks about the female who wants to address things or needs to talk about things that make people uncomfortable, but she chooses not to because the people around are always expecting her to be the bigger person. Be decent, be professional. Your mother raised you better than that. And some others always get away with things that they really should not get away with, but you are constantly muffled. Do the right thing. So this piece is a liberating piece for me, reminding myself that you need to speak for yourself. You need to speak up, speak out, speak against the things that bother you. All right, so I'm going to share this piece, and it will be the last piece. I want to hear more from Marguerite, by the way, um, today. Lego the girl. I don't really have time for waste, though, eh? Uno nah Lego the girl. Uno really have sympathy for the mouth and masty one. Look how much dear Uno complain about how she use her mouth. She finally meet her match. And Uno afraid for she get cuss out. As she tell lie upon you, or you thief money at your workplace. That time at the bank system a malfunction, make you never get no pay. As she talks say you pick me them pretty dunks. She said them fool. She said them now come after nothing. Them better look work for clean the school. Lego the girl make me cuss her. Enough problem she a causing at the lane. Enough neighbor living a malice. And as she are the one to blame. As she same one cause mix up over the wedding we there. Take jumpy post on social media. Side chick a catch buck here. You remember how she got dead yard? Go stir up argument about Jackie picking off a dep and will. But what a woman rank. Lego the girl uno a idiot. Enough things need to make right. I bet if the girl cuss her, No people sleep good at them bed tonight. You know, I behave like idiot. I'm sorry for the girl. Look how much problem she caused. I'm not willing to bail her out. When since you not like disgrace? When since you not like shame? Tomorrow morning before Pop take off him drawers, she go bite one of you again. Lego the girl make she cuss her. The vampire get too tame. She get in a people business every minute. Who no need to done the chaos in the lane. Lego the girl make she cuss her. Who no stop try calm her down. Look how long the old crosses and walk for a good old dress down. Lego the girl make she cuss her. Who no want the trouble done. If I did ever me she trouble today, the whole of you would have to run. People no feel so presumptuous. Brazen and can't tame. When them go out of them way for trouble good decent people, make them take them lashings in a the lane. And
Yes.
he speaks to many of us.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh
Many
yes.
different issues we could put there that just need to be spoken, but for some reason we want to keep those things covered. So
I particularly enjoy that piece, Stacie.
Yeah, I love it. Oh yes.
It sort of remind you of tenement yard cussing and all of that.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And every community have one or two of those people, you know.
we
They're
can
always
all
around the corner. Always. Know
we can all
everything and know everything about everybody. Oh yeah.
and create mischief. And the thing is, the person deliberately, consistently creates mischief, but
Yeah.
nobody really wants to address it. And this person is there like a poison, consistently, doing a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
And it's just part of our culture, I believe. That we don't speak about much.
Yes.
Yes.
So
So
Stacie Ann has given you the floor for the rest of the time. Go
yes,
ahead.
yes.
Stacie Ann, a major cheerleader of my work. So I am here wondering,
Well,
wondering,
well,
wondering why is Stacie
I,
Ann
I, I think you're
doing
getting
this?
another. I
But
think you're getting another one or two. No.
all right, so I am going to share two poems in succession of the other. For I have sinned, forgive me, for I have sinned in my tenacity to challenge you on the battlefield of morality. Forgive me for offending your duplicity with my transparency. Forgive me while you carouse with your unquenchable lies, for I have sinned in uttering prayerful reprise. Forgive me, great one, clothed in your honorable disguise, for I have sinned to not fall prey to your beguiles. Now, this poem focuses on deception, and the next poem I go into also focuses on deception and the pain of knowing that we are in a world where when you champion the truth, you actually in trouble. And we find that in the workplace, in the church, I mean, every single facet of our life, there are persons, there are say you cannot say anything or else will get your job. I'll say, I mean, it really is because it is true. And thankfully, some the strength to speak out, the courage to speak out, even if it makes them martyrs in the end. This one is titled Judas. Judas came knocking at my door. All this time his back was turned, and I could not see his face, but he was beautiful, and his voice gentle, and I found myself caught under his spell. He was strong and strapping. He did the next move, for his unexpected visit needed no reproof, and I could not forsake. I was already desperate for a mate, someone to talk to in my darkest hour. So in my weakness, I reached out to touch him with his beautiful, brooding figure hovering. Then Judas's smile became a snarl, and his hands around my neck tightly pinned. I fought my way out of that trance, and on my bed, as I ensconced, I was reminded that my Judas friend is one who wants me dead.
That one is rough.
I
Yeah.
think we can all relate. Yes, to an
Yes.
extent.
So,
Yes.
Maggie, I see that you're much into like religious poetry.
Yes,
Uh,
I mix it all in, because there are so many experiences I've witnessed, and I speak of experiences uh, of persons around me, not just of my own. So that is why I divided my anthology of poems into 5 sections. One section is really religiosity, but there are a focus, as I said initially, on other themes. There's a predominant focus also on motherhood, might I add. Yes. Single parenting motherhood.
okay.
So can you give us one of those?
Sure, definitely. It is titled, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the page. So bear with me here. It is titled What Love Begets. The mother loved him before she met him. On days when her love posed a threat, she gambled with her health and cradled him against her breast and clenched her teeth to preserve the gift her love begets. She supposed that with this seed, her soul could soar free, and he, her gentle dove, would one day bring her comfort from all the men who gave her unreciprocated love. The day came when, in her jubilee, the mother held him close as he suckled. She journeyed with him through desert lands, and her love planted seeds that sprouted fruits from the sand. Then one day, in a cataclysmic transform, he despised the graceful garland from his head, and instead, she bled from the blows of his knuckles. She watched him pluck the pendants from his neck, and in his unreciprocated love, the mother was decked. She nurtured him still, for love bears all. So in her hospice, she held him close. For what does he know? What does he truly know of love's austere and lonely offices? I would like to say that the situation expressed this poem, it is far more common than many mothers dare to admit. The poem speaks of a mother carrying an unborn child, and clearly this mother is alone, you know. Uh, there is no mention of the kind of support from the father or the presence of the father. This mother is also having to put her own life at risk to bring this child into the world. But she she lives through the risk, and she gives birth to this child, and she expects him to be her joy. And so he is, because he's a brilliant child. But very many children these days have an ungrateful spirit. And this child does not reciprocate the love, the care for his mother. And the mother yearns for him. She yearns for that. And she grows into an old woman, not surrounded by the love of her child, the love of family. She's alone in an old age home. And even though all her life, her child has denied her that love and that acknowledgement of the sacrifices that she has made for him, even at this stage, she loves him. She metaphorically holds him to her breast, and the biblical allusions used just makes the disconnect of the child so graphic. He in a cataclysmic transform, he hides the graceful balance from his head, and instead she bled from the blows of his knuckles. She watched him pluck the pendant from his neck. You know, that really tugs at the heart, and it defiles everything that the Bible says about children honoring your mother and your father, so
Yes.
that your days on this earth would be long. Yes,
Wonderful.
indeed.
We have time for two more. Can you give us two more?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. In consideration of the murders and disappearance of females, women, children, this poem was born. It's titled She Slowly Fades Away. She slowly fades away into the air like dust, into the night like a fleeting dream, out of history like an exiled queen, falling away from the shore with each approaching tide. This crisis grows bigger than femicide, for they have begun to attack even the child. Some disappear like phantoms, while police struggle to catch the heartless hoodlums. Who are these culprits in our degenerate society who steal our females in homage to some satanic piety?
Oh, that is a powerful piece.
Oh, yes. Very powerful. Yes.
I think it would take us maybe another session to sit and really talk about that piece and
Oh, yes.
our current realities. Margaret, that is a powerful piece. I love it.
Each time I share it, I have to exhale. I really have to exhale. And this poem was inspired after Anya MacDonald, who she's a former head girl of, I believe, St. Andrew High School. She did a video tribute, you know, um, to some of these children, and I call them children because that's exactly who they were. Um, Teenagers. I remember the the blind girl outside UWI campus who went into the taxi, you know. And when before I wrote this poem, I did a research on a number of the disappearances. And more I discovered, the backstories, it just plunged me into grief, and the lives of these females. They became my sisters, my cousins. I mean, it just was very personal to me. Okay, so the last one.
Yes.
The last one now. It's titled Undress Me. Sometimes I wish you would undress me, Let me show you what is in the castle of my skin. Undress my thoughts, heavily draped in layers of fabric. Fabric made to conceal the brainwashed child within. Undress me so I may share how in my seemingly perfect world they took the innocence of a little girl. If only I knew I wore my fate like a scarlet letter. If only I knew, then I might have changed things for the better. Everything about him was like a red flag, waving urgently as this doe grew closer to her stag. But when at age 18, my family had already kicked me out, he opened his door and gave me a sanctuary, no doubt. Over time, the disgraced news of his physical abuse reached their ears. My innocence left me. I had lived up to their worst fears. When my face showed the darkened blows of his anger, my family admonished me for my ill judgment. They too injured the child with their spears and daggers. A frightened, trapped, and powerless girl in an unwanted situation had merely become a mirror of her socialization. I wish when the family criticized, you had undressed me to uncover the disguise. When they cursed and gloated their secret meetings and justified themselves with their lies. When they became judge and jury, serve her right, they seemed to say. Pity no one told them that they and the community that raised me taught me to debase me. Undress me. Let me show why I allowed abuse in my life. When for years I witnessed abuse next door on either side. The neighbors did not close off the horror with their fences. This frightened little girl saw how men hammered, kicked, thumped, grabbed, and threw fists at their human punching bags. Yes, women who these men say they loved. Women who, in men's guile, bore their love child. Human punching bags that were frail and yet strong had to have been strong to endure that pain for so long. The woman never walked out. Maybe it really wasn't easy. On my breast, life history placed my scarlet letter. If you thought I was lucky raised in my Christian den, sad to say, abuse is not only ascribed to non-Christian men, for in my family, men of the cloth had their punching bags too. And the screams of terror still haunt me, even now. It's true. Yes, the deacons and the ministers had their time in the boxing ring. So undress me quickly before these heavy clothing cause me to sink. I wish someone had undressed me, revealed my wickedness, ungagged my mouth, for my life is burdened by thoughts of doubt. Undress the secrets heavily buried in the memory of the child who was taught to be silent but learned to relent. Undress them also. Show the hypocrites they are. Undress them now so that maybe they would all repent.
Wow.
A beautiful piece too, powerful.
Yeah, very powerful.
Loaded with conversation.
Oh yes. And
Loaded with lessons.
most of all reality.
Yeah.
Very real. Very,
Yes.
very real.
Indeed.
So ladies, I thank you very much for coming this morning. Thank you very much. And we definitely will, want to have you back, especially March, since your first time. So Courtney will get in touch with you. So you can come and have your own space.
All right.
And Stacie Ann is always with us,
Yes.
which we really appreciate. And I'm very, very happy to have you. When we close, Stacie, don't go so quickly. I need to speak to you about something.
All right.
Yes. So as we close this day today, we're going to ask Queen Lubafu to give us the Our Father in the Garifuna language, and Tafina to take us out. Thank you very much. Thank you, listeners and viewers, to the Real Stuff podcast.
You lead us to full. You belong far away away. Ajuguala lebabu seru. Lida mua, lida sungfula. Lida mua, lida sungfula.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know I said me if it could flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out the side. Me have to take away myself. I have to take away myself. I have to utilize I will.